Hi there, I'm Tammy Lea Meyer, and I'm joined today by Luke Flegg. Luke, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So this is a podcast, a peer-to-peer podcast ahead of CollabCamp in Paris, which is happening this coming weekend. What are the dates, Luke?
It's the 13th to the 17th.
Wonderful. And I won't be able to attend in person, but I'm happy to get to know folks and do some podcasts to kind of help to bring together what people are learning, what people are doing together. And this particular podcast is one to find out a little bit more about you and what you're wanting to bring to CollabCamp. So maybe you can just start by saying how you came into contact what brings you?
Yeah, I feel like I've been involved in CollabCamp a long time. I guess I've been to one of them, not the first, but the last one, which was also in Paris. We'll be in different venues this year, but there was a good sort of 10, maybe maximum 15 of us there last year. And I'm trying to remember how I first got involved in it, actually. It was maybe through Daniel Harris.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess I explore a lot around these kind of circles. I'm familiar with this scene of exploring innovative ways to collaborate with people without bosses, without hierarchy. I'm a firm believer that that's the future that we need to work towards in companies, in schools, in all kinds of intentional communities. Mm-hmm. is collaborations where each individual has more of a sense of agency and freedom, where they can create their own purpose and follow that without being oppressed by somebody else's regime.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. And I definitely echo your thoughts that this is the way of the future, and we have to figure out how to collaborate together and how to bring together what we actually love to do. So what do you love to do?
I love to do a lot of things. The broadest answer I can give that is completely true, I think, is really just hold my curiosity as something really sacred and trust its intention. I'm a very curious person. I'm interested in one thing 1 minute and then another minute. But there are common threads between, and a big curiosity of mine for a long time has been, as I say, about collaboration and different tools and processes, structures and systems, but also the values, the culture, the social, human relationships as well, and how these two kind of different worlds can merge. And I guess that's probably come partly from going to a democratic school, which was a very unusual kind of community.
Tell me about that. What's a democratic school?
Well, first I'll say that I started off in mainstream education, very normal, traditional mainstream school in Oxford, and was a very naughty boy. And I got told off a lot, and I caused lots of trouble, and I just wasn't really fitting in and wasn't very happy and didn't have many friends really in school. And then my single mother was kind of struggling with me quite a lot, and after maybe 6 months or so of being in a pupil referral unit, like a dropout school for naughty kids that felt like a prison, my mum found a book about a democratic school, and I still take a lot of inspiration from that now when thinking about movement building and intentional communities and structures and cultures of collaboration. Trust instead of command and control, and freedom instead of oppressive structures. But so what is it? It's a very free, liberating, social way to run a school where essentially the kids ran the school, so it was a majority rule. It wasn't consensus, it wasn't a sort of teal-like autonomy. But it felt amazing to be part of. It was completely radical and the opposite of where I'd just come from. There's 3 democratic schools in the UK, and they're part of a worldwide network, which you can learn more about by Googling International Democratic Education Network. And yeah, so we had a weekly school meeting, which was always chaired by a student, and anyone can write proposals or announcements on the piece of paper in the hall, and the chair will take it to the school meeting, and we'd propose and vote on anything. Like there was power in the school meeting to even manage the school budget and even hire and sack teachers. There was no decision making that was too big to go in the school meeting.
That's fantastic. Revolution in the schools happening, and you're a product of that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I think they still operate generally, certainly my school, in a little bit of a bubble, and because of the UK government and stupid laws around democratic schools. I think because the kids don't have to go to lessons, and so it's not classified as a school that the government is willing to fund. So while my single mother on a low income is paying taxes for my education that I'm not receiving from the mainstream, she's had to pay for essentially a private school, much more affordable than some academic excellence school. But yeah, it's sad to think that some people can't go because they're not able to access one of the limited bursaries or pay some other way. I think that's a real sad thing. But yeah, amazing that they at least exist. I want them to be replicated and duplicated and more people to know about them. Yeah.
How many years did you go?
Just 2.5 maybe, just halfway through my secondary school life. Yeah.
That's
not
awesome.
enough to turn everything upside down for me though.
And so obviously there's a lot of sort of soft abilities and understandings that you have through having that kind of experience. But what are some of the skills that you bring to the table as you walk into CollabCamp?
I can guess, I can imagine. I think that's really more a question for people who know me or spent time with me. I think skills I can bring, more sort of obvious, tangible ones, are filmmaking. I'm a filmmaker. I make promotional videos for purpose-driven organisations.
Yeah.
I just want to promote valuable work that's being done in the world. But I think I bring some skills certainly around tools and tech for collaboration, especially kind of open, transparent self-organisation. I'm very interested in tools that help facilitate that, but also recognise that tools and tech are not solutions in and of themselves. The best they can do is bring out elements that already exist in a collaboration and the culture that is already in place there. They're not going to transform culture. They're just going to enable aspects of it, I think. So yeah, I'm very geeky about that, and sort of e-democracy, all kinds of democratic innovation and liquid democracy, and also a little bit perhaps hosting and facilitating. I guess I've been to Art of Hosting, which is all about how to, the sort of the science and the art of hosting really generative, productive, and respectful conversations in groups of people that are trying to tackle problems or explore issues together, and that was totally amazing. I think that's sort of most of it. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that would do.
And what are some of the, just to dive a little bit into some of the collaboration tools, what are some of the collaboration tools that you really like using, that really work for the kinds of collaborations that you're into?
Well, this is one I'm pretty familiar with, Hangouts on Air, because I'm just interested in more innovative, kind of transparent, open ways of working. And not just ways that are visible to the public, but also participative. So I'm aware of, this Hangout on Air has showcase features and ways for the audience to kind of comment and applaud certain bits of it and things like that. But Yeah, especially kind of inviting the public to know what your team, your collaboration, your project is doing, and to offer ideas, suggestions, questions, even criticisms. I think that's the future of work in the broadest sense of the word, that I'm inspired by. It's more accountable, it's more able to harness collective intelligence. You know, I can just instantly connect to all the different groups that yesterday were happening in bubbles, hidden in corners, you know, behind closed doors, in bubbles, in silos. And now I can find them, I can see what's happening and look inside, and I can also go, hey, you guys might like to speak to these guys, or I reckon you could help each other. And I think there's huge potential for that. There's a lot of people interested in doing that.
Yes.
But actual tools, maybe I can screen share and show you actually what I had in front of me before before we were chatting. So I was looking at, hold on a moment, let me just bring it up. I've been very excited recently about Stormboard, because this is a tool that I've literally just created this. I thought it'd be interesting to see what questions people have right now about CollabCamp, whether they're involved in organising it or just a participant of it. I thought, we've all got questions. Why don't we vocalise them and visualise them, and we can respond to them too. So this is a project that I'm working on with a couple of other people. It's called Dignity Platform.
Yes.
And you can see along the bottom here the people who are involved in this Stormboard. It keeps a little record of who's explored around and tinkered. This is my business partner. And you can see his questions are in green and mine are in yellow. And it's a beautiful example of, to share a story. One really fun thing that happened on here is that you can change the template, so the actual shape of the whole template you're working on. And we started off with just a blank one, because my former self would have created systems and structures before actually feeling the need for them. I would have anticipated them. And I think that can be part of the tyranny of self-organizing sometimes, is that there's all the more people who are exploring different ways to kind of bring order to the chaos. And so potentially you have lots of bosses and lots of management going on. And I think the trick is to create the minimal, lightest weight way of making sense of everybody's contributions. So actually we created these sections after realizing that our questions were starting to reveal some patterns. We kind of broke it up into users of this web platform, this app that we're looking to build, culture and values, and we've tweaked these, so we've got this kind of iterative process of working out, these are the things that we're curious about.
So what is this app?
Well, so it begins with questions. So I guess right now during this conversation, we're exploring questions, which you're asking, and then you can click this little button here to kind of dive into that question, and everybody can discuss it and explore it together. And maybe that will inspire another question. How can we always challenge our assumptions? I feel like that's a question that more organizations could be asking. So we discuss it in here. And then also for kind of bigger movements, I think it's quite a flexible tool, and we're using it for quite a small team who are quite focused. But if you were to invite more people and kind of wanted to build a bit of a movement, like Teal for Startups, for example, I think you can vote here to kind of show your alignment with a question, or just say, I think this is a really important question to explore. And that makes it easy to kind of see these are the really burning questions in us. It can highlight them based on that. And then there's a sort of history pane here, so you can kind of, you can see what the latest things are that you've been missing, and you can catch up. And there's a chat area here to talk to each other. I just find it a really clever tool. I'll show you one more thing just while we're looking at Stormboard, because I think this is totally genius. So this is a really big question. I was thinking, what skills does this project need that we don't have between us yet? Basically, not what people do we need exactly, but what skills do we need from people we want to get involved. And you can kind of, a bit like a dream inside a dream, you can click to enter the substorm. And now we've climbed right inside this post-it note to open up a whole new board. So yeah, we're just trying to map out what we think is missing from our team skills-wise.
Yes.
Because this is going to be a really useful thing in Paris when I am seeking to grow our team.
Great. And when you say you're seeking to grow your team, is that what team?
So there's me and Jack at the moment founding this project, and there's a couple of other people who are exploring getting involved. So yeah, just a handful of us really at this stage, and then we have what we've been calling collaborators so far, who are just kind of friends and people interested in what we're doing. But yeah, we're really excited about this project, and we want to start it up. Shall I explain it?
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes, please.
It's called Dignity Platform, and the purpose of it is to create a new way for people to raise money for charity or causes or any kind of projects that they're passionate about, not by donating money at it or trying to get other people to donate money, but by doing odd jobs for anybody. And
okay.
That hirer pays money to the cause. So rather than giving money, you're giving your time.
So it's kind of like a time bank.
I think, yeah, it's a little bit like, if you know TaskRabbit, it's kind of like TaskRabbit with purpose, maybe meets time banking, yeah. So rather than me being a charity mugger on the streets, trying to coerce people into giving me their debit card details, or cold calling people, knocking on their doors, contacting donors and asking for more money, instead I can do odd jobs for people to generate money for a cause. Obviously a charity mugger wants to be paid as well. That's kind of quite an important part of, they probably wouldn't do it otherwise.
But so how do you get, how does the financial resources come into it if you're doing odd jobs?
So I can fix your bicycle or your computer, or I can walk your dog, or maybe you're disabled or elderly and I can go and get some shopping for you. I can just click on a cause that I really, really want to support, but I don't necessarily just want to throw my limited amount of money at it. And in that cause, I can see all of the services that I can pay for from workers who are working for little or no money to generate money for this. Or I can see all of the things that are wanted that maybe I can deliver, like filmmaking or photography, graphic design, you know, walking your dog or fixing your bike. So yeah, it just creates an economy of exchange there that the worker can take a small minority of the money they're generating, but really it's not about you making money for yourself. It's really about you generating money through providing a service for someone that's going to fund something you're really passionate about.
So one of the folks that I was, I came to meet Daniel Harris through attending the Impact Economy Summit last fall that my friend Caroline Smalley put together, and she has a couple of projects. One is the Citizens Media, and the other is the I3 Co-op. And through there, I met Matthew Slater. Have you heard of Matthew Slater?
I don't think so.
Matt Slats. So he helps to build complementary currencies, software for complementary currencies for communities all around the world, as well as time banks. It might be an interesting conversation because it's a similar goal that you're looking for to see if there's some sort of leverage there. One of the things that I notice is that we're all looking at some of the same problems and coming up with our solutions. And there's a lot of siloing. So I I find it really useful to say what's similar, and is there ways that we can use part of what's been created, or see if there's some. I mean, even a consultation or just sharing and knowing what other people are doing is valuable.
So much. I'm a massive advocate of that. I'm saying that so much of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, one thing I'd love to give you a little intro email to Matthew Slater, just so that you can. I know that he can't quite make it to Paris. He's in Europe, but not available for that time. But Daniel knows him as well, and he's got a project called the Credit Commons, which is looking to link together folks who have current complementary currency projects so that they can trade together. So similarly, if you're talking about, oftentimes complementary currencies are based on service that people do for each other, and so it is very similar, and it may be that through having a conversation, there's something useful that emerges.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, interesting. Thanks. Yeah, I'd be glad to connect. Sure.
Yeah. Wonderful. And so that's one project that you're bringing, but you're also bringing a lot of skills to the table. And it sounds to me like you're also bringing a lot of, shall we say, hope for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel hopeful about the future. Yeah, especially if cynics can become contributors with good intention, and people who are apathetic can at least move towards a place of curiosity. Maybe cynicism would at least be interactive. But yeah, so I feel really hopeful about many aspects of the future. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to navigate there around digital exclusion, and as the internet, has a bigger and bigger influence in how we educate and learn about the world and connect and socialize and trade. And again, like if we can find ways to include the excluded, and move towards participation, even when we're cynical, yeah, we can shape the future rather than just it happen at us.
Yeah, and I mean that's incredibly important. And part of the vision that I have for this kind of one-on-one collaboration, and part of this is getting to know each other, but also part of it is connecting who we know that might be able to help each other, and reaming into the future together. What does that future actually look like? What are those? I think that in part we need to do a global visioning exercise. And really sort of look into technology is changing. It's changing us. It's changing how we relate to each other, how we can connect, how we can exchange. All of these things are places where we have personal agency and power. And so I want to support as much as possible people that are looking to create systems, protocols, processes, projects that show how we can do that better. And so part of my inspiration in doing some podcasts around CollabCamp is, I know we're greater than the sum of our parts. And I also know that we bring a lot of very specific things to the table. And one of those things is what our vision for the future is. So maybe you can just share a little bit about how you see how you see the future emerging as we collaborate.
I'm trying not to give something rehearsed or scripted, but something more emergent and authentic. I think at its core, it's around communities of people being really aware of needs, people being really aware of their own needs and how to respond to them. I really like that play on words with responsibility, your ability to respond. Think of a vision of the future that I'm inspired by is one in which we're increasingly insightful about both our own ever-changing needs moment to moment, and how to meet those without impinging on the freedoms of other people, and often by actually stopping and recognizing our own needs and meeting those, we're able to actually be in a stronger position to give more. I like what Brené Brown says about boundaries and things like this. I'm a massive believer in sort of the systems thinking view that learning how to love and take care of yourself really will reflect in your collaborations in any project you're working in to bring about positive social change. And then further again, that project will then be in such a stronger, more capable place to respond to the needs that collectively you identify in wider society, and you respond with more insight and effectiveness to those needs. I'm also a massive believer in the build with, not for movement. Yes. It's just so easy for a bunch of generally well-educated, white, techie males who think they've got the solution to everything, and it's probably an app. It's ironic that I bring this Dignity platform app and fit the description quite well. But I just think there's generally always a little bit more we can do to just connect more intimately with the so-called needy people that we're trying to, when we're trying to respond to their needs, whether it's the homeless or refugees or young people. How can we build solutions, tackle social challenges with the people therefore, rather than just go, hi, I've made your solution for you.
Yes.
It's one, as you were saying, that's debubbled, it's unsiloed, where companies and charities are more open with what they're working on, what they're exploring, answers that they find, resources and assets that they've got. How can we be more open and transparent and sharing, and less competitive, more cooperative and collaborative? I recently was exploring the root of the word competition. It comes from the Latin root competere, which literally translated means striving together. And suddenly it sounds a lot more like cooperation.
It sure does.
How do we bastardize these words? These words that shape our entire capitalist economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
What do you need, Luke?
What do I need?
Yeah.
I need friends. I need walks in nature. I need to know that I can do anything, but I can't do everything. I need freedom, playfulness, curiosity. They're the general big things that I need, and I try to remember I need, or some of them at least. And kind of more immediate, tangible things that I think I would really like are a team for this project. I feel like Dignity Platform is a really awesome project, although it's working primarily with charities and causes and fundraising, just with sterling money as we know it today, which is very boring. I think there's a lot of creativity that we can bring there, and we can actually create an amazing example of a real purpose-driven business that is actually quite radical, and I think has a lot of opportunity to grow from that place. So I'd really, really love to find developers and find a team, people who have a passion for this, a curiosity about it. How can we fund and fuel the most valuable work happening in the world today?
Yes.
Because money is so often an obstacle. Not always, and there's so many different types of fuel. Money's just one type of fuel. You know, CollabCamp is a free event, and pretty much no one's spending any money to put it on or come to it. But I think there's a place, at least today, for money to play a role in driving positive social change, as well as a load of rubbish stuff. But yeah, I'd love to find some playmates for this project, I think, right now.
Wonderful. And what are you really looking to offer CollabCamp?
What am I?
Really looking to offer CollabCamp? Your presence.
Yes. I'd like to offer my ears and try and hear what's needed rather than try and guess in advance. I'd like to offer some time and some care and attention and some degree of responsibility, some knowledge that I have about aspects of the logistics and venues that I've been working on. So I've been working to find our venues for the event. I'd like to, yeah, offer ideas, suggestions, questions, anything that I think might be of use to people working on valuable projects. Yeah, and hopefully possibly connect them to events and funding opportunities and to each other. Yeah, and share any sort of learnings that I've found on my way. Yeah, maybe especially around filmmaking, photography, graphic design, branding, those sort of things that pay my rent that I know a bit about. And yeah, sort of tools and tech for collaboration, these sort of things. I think I can offer those. And a little bit of hosting, I guess, yeah. So I'm sure I'll have some role in kind of welcoming people and just hopefully helping people to feel orientated and welcome and know where the toilets are and who's in the room and what they're, you know, welcome to do in the space. Yeah.
Luke, thank you. Is there any last thoughts that you'd like to share before we close?
I guess I'll take the opportunity regarding CollabCamp to just really invite people to be bold and step forward and ask questions and be vocal, I think. As soon as a question comes out of your head, out of your mouth, people can start to interact with it and play with it. And maybe those questions will lead to beautiful places, like you getting involved in organising future events or spin-off events or who knows where. But just being vocal and really helping to share the leadership, the power and responsibility of that we have in the sort of organising team, which everybody is very much invited to. That would be great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for all that you have done to throw down ahead of the event, and thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to touching base with you over the weekend.
Cool. Thank you so much for just doing this and helping connect us before we've already arrived.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks, Luke.
Cheers, Tammy. Bye.
Until next time.